Well, hey, everybody. Mike here in the studio on a Friday afternoon. Get ready to record Mike in the Midwest. It's been a minute since we've recorded one of these shows, so let's catch up for our patrons. 282. Let's do this. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Mike in the Midwest, episode number 282 here on a Friday afternoon. It is Friday, March 6th, 2026. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com, which you can check out wherever you download podcasts. Or, of course, you can always stream the show at BeOurGuestPodcast.com if you get in a pickle. But I always suggest you download it. And most importantly, that you subscribe because that supports our show. Subscribe many places if you want. You don't have to just subscribe on, one place like Apple Podcasts. You can also subscribe over on Overcast or Pocket Casts. It helps our numbers. But as long as you're there one place and you get the show, I'm happy with that because we get to connect weekly and keep the conversation going. You get those trip reports, you get those listener questions, and you get to hear us goof around with topics like hit the gas or pump the brakes, or I think Monday we might just go around the table and each person put in one thing into our parks bag until we get that thing full. I was thinking about doing that next week for our kind of topical conversation. That might be kind of, I don't know. It kind of gets tough deciding on what are those, the topical shows we do after, well, we start 19 years here next week because our anniversary is always the second week of March. And we started in 2008. So this will be our 18-year anniversary. We'll be moving into 19th year of podcasting. It's pretty amazing that this little hobby, that turned into a way of living for me has stuck around. And I appreciate each and every one of you, because without you guys supporting us here on Patreon, we could not do this. So you might not think that your contribution matters. It matters a whole lot. And I cannot thank you enough for that. And I hope you always get some enjoyment out of our shows, that we keep you company on a walk with your pooch or on a run, getting ready for your next princess adventure, your next springtime surprise adventure coming up, possibly your next marathon weekend, or wine and dine coming up in the fall, or even just a local race. Maybe just walking just to get in better health, or just doing the dishes sometimes. We got to do that as well, just doing some chores. I just, you know what? I have been a podcast fan since before we started the show, since like back in 2003, 2004. And I'll tell you what, podcasts have kept me company for, like I say, over 20 years. I listen to them all the time when I'm on the treadmill, I listen to them in my Jeep when I'm driving around. And even though most of the people that I listen to podcasts, I have not met, I've met quite a few of the people that I listen to their shows over the years, just circumstantial. Like I'm kind of like a stalker. Like I listen to their shows so many times that when I get an opportunity to go meet it, like at a meet and greet at Walt Disney World, or I met Leo Laporte one time. He came to St. Louis for a technology event. Of course, I went to a bar where he was meeting with fans, because it was actually right down the road, about 15 minutes from here, a place called the Trainwreck Saloon. I did actually, in the Discord, for people that are in the Discord, I posted a picture this afternoon in the Sports Center channel of this big gold building that now has a baseball glove on the top, the Rawlings gold baseball glove. The Trainwreck Saloon is actually in that complex. And Leo Laporte, who does the Twit Networks, the This Week in Technology podcast, he just happened to be there for a technology conference. There's a big place called Worldwide Technologies in that complex. He was there, and I'm like, I got to meet Leo Laporte. I have to do it. So I told my wife, she's like, who's Leo Laporte? I'm like, he's a podcaster. Like, he's a famous podcaster. He's like the age of my dad. He's like almost 70. She's like, go do your thing, whatever. It's weird, but go ahead, go meet your hero. So I did, and I hung out with some geeks, I'll listen to podcasts about Apple and, computers and the internet and stuff like that. I mean, it was a geek fest, and I was in my glory there, and I don't, really drink or anything. So I went and got a picture with him and Alex Lindsay and a couple other geeks. And I was like loving it. Got a couple stickers and stuff, and came home. I was like, I met Leo Laporte. I met Alex Lindsay. He made Queen Amidala's spaceship in Phantom Menace. Pam was like, cool. You met your heroes. I'm like, darn tootin', I met my heroes. It was awesome. So I know what podcasts mean to me. So I just want you to know that I appreciate you guys letting me do this show, because I love doing this show. Now, what I always wanted was like, I love hearing the behind the scenes of podcasts. Like, back in the day, my favorite show as far as Disney podcasts, and I've always said this, was WDW Today. Now, some of you guys have been around long enough to hear to know what I'm talking about. WDW Today with Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, Matt Hotchberg, and Len Testa back in the day in their glory. They did 3 shows a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Coincidence? We do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wednesday was listener questions. Mondays and Fridays were topical shows. We do trip reports on Mondays. We do topical shows on Fridays. And I've kind of emulated them because I always thought they were the best. I figure, why reinvent the wheel? They did it. We have our own spin on things, but they did it well. And I appreciated them. Another show that I liked was Beta Mouse. That kind of spun out of that with Jeff Cheney and Katie and Henry and uh, Nate. Was Nate on that one? Narsh? Not Narsh. I played hockey with Nate Narsh. Nate. Oh my God. Matt's brother, Parrish. Yeah, I'm getting Alzheimer's or something here. I'm getting old. I don't podcast for a couple of weeks. I lose my mind. But I love hearing the behind the scenes. Like I love the topical stuff. I still remember when Henry talked about the orb that was going to eventually follow us around on all of our Disney trips, and we're like 2 degrees away from that at this point. And he talked about the magic wristbands, and I mean, magic bands have like almost come and gone at this point. But as much as the topical stuff was fun, hear this stuff like that. I loved hearing the behind the scenes, how they recorded stuff or what it went on when they were hanging out at a Waffle House together, or when they rented a villa together and how they put a podcast together late at night with, the technical stuff. I loved hearing that stuff. And that's kind of what I wanted to give you with Mike in the Midwest. Like, what do we do, when I talk with Scott off the air? What do we do with Ricky and Pam when we just hang out and stuff like that? So I hope I give you some of that, in my, of course, we all live in different cities, so we don't have a lot of interaction together outside the podcast other than, text messages and when we record, other than that, like when we're not on the air. But I can give you a lot of my stories as far as putting the show together. One of the ones I have as far as where I am right now, of course, I am bouncing back from that surgery that I had. And now I will tell you, because this is kind of the topic of this show I put and again, not to give you shock value or anything out of this. It's called Thank You and Final Goodbye. We're not going anywhere. I love doing this show. It's not like the last MASH, farewell and amen or whatever it was called. We're not trying to get the most listens of all time or anything from 1983. But what we're doing here is that's the second half of the show. I want to talk about the Final Goodbye. But the first part of the show is just thank you, because I had the surgery and I was debating it. And you guys, if you were on the Discord, I was doing it. Then I was like, I'm not doing it because it was going to be more major than I thought. I thought this was going to be a minor thing. And then the doctor went for like the pre-consult. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a bigger deal. And it was a big deal. But I finally went through with it with Mallory one night. Like we were like kind of, having a family discussion. I said I wasn't doing it because I didn't want to have to go through like this long recovery. And I mean, I just, I was feeling pretty good because I'd run the races. I'd PR'd at Disneyland. I'd PR'd all the races at Dopey. I'm like, I'm feeling better than I've ever felt before as far as running. Now, when I wasn't running, I wasn't feeling great. I'll be honest with you. I was feeling kind of crummy. It was weird because I would feel good in the mornings as soon as I got up. But with me, I know a lot of people do things differently. I run on an empty stomach. I do not drink anything before I run. I do not drink while I run. I run the whole 13, 14 miles without taking a sip of water. I drink once I'm done. So I will run like when I run on the treadmill in the morning, I'll run 13, 14 miles before I even take a drink of water. Then I'll down 2 Gatorades and then I'm caught up, or I guess I'm caught up. Maybe not. And then I'll, the rest of the day I drink. But that's how I go. Like I don't put anything on my stomach until I'm done with my run. And then I was feeling crummier the rest of the day as I put stuff on my stomach. And so maybe that's why I felt better in the mornings, because my stomach wasn't fighting things. But I was, and that's how I ran Disneyland. That's how I ran Dopey. And anyway, so again, here we go. Just kind of giving you behind the scenes. So I was struggling with, I'm in my 50s, right? And like, why am I running a PR in my 50s? I'm running faster at these distance races, 26 miles, 13 miles, 6 miles, 3 miles. I'm going faster than I was in my, 40s, in my 30s, in my 20s. Like that doesn't make sense. So should I toy with, I'm always a person, just in life, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I am very much that person. Like, I will not touch a computer if it's running well. I'm not one to upgrade things if it's working well enough. I've kind of learned that from my dad. Like, don't go fiddling with things if they're working because they can always break and get worse. If it's working, just kind of ride it out. And then once it breaks, then you can like do an upgrade because you have nothing to lose. But if something's working, like I'm not a big tinkerer. Like with our studio, I don't have the latest and greatest for the podcast because I need, like, this is the essential setup. I have to have the podcast work because I got to get the show out. It is mission critical. Now, if it's something like my laptop that I use a MacBook to do all my work stuff for the travel agency. I use a MacBook with a sidecar um, uh, iPad for like a second screen. Now I'll toy with that a lot because it's not mission critical. If I need to go book a trip, I can come down here and use this computer too to book travel. So that's not mission critical, but I need the podcast computer set up with the lights and the video and all the microphones and the mixer. I need this all to work. So I don't toy with this at all. I baby this. I just leave everything the same. Don't toy with it. So anyway, that's the deal with this. I always leave this alone. It's mission critical. I don't toy with it. So anyway, what I'm getting back to is with the surgery, the reason I decided to have it was one night we were all talking about it, the family, and Mallory's like, look, you have to stay healthy though for the long term, not just because you ran a few races and you did a good job. But she's like, that's great, blah, blah, blah. But she's like, I need you to be there, for my wedding and for, all these, my college graduate. I'm like, it's just digestive. This, none of this was like that serious. Right. I mean, I'd been in the hospital a couple times over the past like year for a few days each time because I had some blockages in my small intestine. And like, I mean, they could have been really bad, but they caught them both times and treated them. But they found when I had some more testing that they had, spots where it was very scar tissue had built up and it was kind of really bad. So she's like, when she said that, I was like, fine, we'll get it done. So I had it done on February 17th. Luckily, everything went well. I kind of told that story on the podcast this week that we recorded that one back on Monday. So about 4 days ago with Pam, the listener question show that came out today on Friday, that, I went in, got it done. Don't remember a thing. I don't remember even going into the operating room. That was good. Came out. Apparently I was in a lot of pain. I do remember that. I felt like I got stabbed. That's the one thing I do remember is like when I came out, I felt like I'd been stabbed in my stomach. Like I was like, ooh, man, I felt like I got stabbed. And I don't remember swinging or doing anything at the doctors, but I do remember like just saying, oh, help me, man. I've been stabbed. Like I feel like somebody stabbed me. And, but then the next thing I know is Pam was just next to me and like, just chill. Like you're good. Like it's all over. Like you did good. You're good. And then they were giving me all kinds of medicine, like in my IV, and I was chilling. And, but I do remember that. And she's like, the doctor said, were you swinging? What was going on? I was like, I don't remember that, but apparently that happened. So I did have to stay in the hospital from Tuesday to Saturday. So I was in there till Saturday. But the one thing I wanted to go back to that, and this is the thank you, is I had to do a show. I had to do a part of a show on Mike in the Midwest to say this because I have not had a major surgery in my life and I'm 52. Other than when I was in college, I had my left ankle kind of rejiggered because I had a huge cyst on it that they thought was cancerous. And I went into a doctor on one day, like to have it looked at because I was speed skating at the time and I was getting ready I had qualified for regionals and I had to go to try to qualify for nationals and I could no longer get my left foot into my boot for speed skating. And back then my boots that I had for my speed skates were custom made to my foot. Like I went to a guy, his name was Dave Simmons out of Kansas City. He was actually a former auto body man. You went to his place and you would dip your foot in this concoction and it would mold a boot, like a cast around your foot, and it would dry and he would make a boot that was custom to your foot. So like you couldn't, if your foot didn't fit, you were done because it was made to your foot. You didn't even wear socks. I speed skated barefoot. So I had this thing growing on my ankle. It was like, at first I thought it was like an ankle spur or something. I don't know, but it got big and big. And I mean, it eventually looked like a finger pointing out of my left ankle. And like, so I went to this sports doctor that they sent me to. And he looked at it. He's like, we don't know. Like that thing is funky. And he sent me to like an MRI and he's like, look, could be this, could be that, could be that. He's like, but could be cancer. He's like, so we're going in and taking that thing out. He's like, we're taking that out tomorrow. I was like, what? I'm like, I'm trying to like, qualify for regionals and nationals. And it's like, in a month or two. He's like, dude, he's like, you want to have a foot? And I was like, yeah, I'd like to have a foot. He's like, we're doing this tomorrow. I'm like, all right. So this was in college and got that done. And so here's a little precursor to what's going on right now. I had that done. He's like, okay, so we're going to go in. Best case scenario, it's nothing. We pop. Hopefully it's just a cyst. He says like it's what he's hoping, and what it was actually is what he thought it might be was called a synovial cyst, just basically a fluid sac. We'll go in, we'll pop it, and then he says maybe your bones have kind of shifted or cracked. He said we'll fix those up in there with a couple like plates or something, and we'll fix that. And he's like, and you'll be good like in maybe 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks, if you're not stupid. Keywords on don't be stupid. Again, I was running a skating rink. I was actually assistant coach of the speed skating team, and I was training at the same time. I had a lot going on in college too. Too much free time because college, you do the stupidest stuff in college. I always say that. So got it done. Of course, I'm on crutches. I'm at this small Baptist college at the time with like no ADA accommodations. I'm going up and down stairs on crutches, Missouri Baptist College. At the skating rink all the time. Cause I'm like training all the time. After about 3 weeks, I decide I could probably get back on my skates and just take it easy, and just chill. Like I can put a bunch of padding on that ankle and just like, just get on my skates. All right. I'm not going to speed skate. I'm just going to get on my skates just to, keep a little fitness, just kind of float around at practice. And of course, you know where that goes, because it had stitches and all kind of busted it all open. Had to go back, get it all back, fixed up again. Didn't hurt the like inside part, but they had to fix it all up. So that became a longer recovery, missed nationals and all that stuff. So because I didn't take the time to heal, that took all the way into the fall. Yes, I did not wait long enough because I was impatient with the recovery, and that happened. So that was the only time. But I wasn't in the hospital. Like that was outpatient. Like I got it done. I was in the recovery room. Boom, I went home that evening and just like, was on crutches. Now, this was the only time I've ever been like surgery Tuesday, didn't get out of the hospital till Saturday, and had time to just like lay in a bed. Like, and I was, like on IVs and on painkillers, like do so many painkillers, which I wasn't used to. And like constant, like being like, they're always taking your temperature and your blood pressure and all that stuff. And like in a lot of pain, like the whole time, even with the painkillers and stuff. And here's the one thing I wanted to say. And again, Mike in the Midwest, there's no short stories here. There always, and I apologize, long stories. But while I was sitting there on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and even Saturday, I had nowhere to go. And I was kind of beside myself because I'm always doing something. My job is with the travel agency. I'm always working all the time. With the podcast, with doing a podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday nights. We have a lot of podcasts, and usually with chasing Mallory's cheerleading games and all the other stuff that we do, we're very busy. I've never had a period of time in years where I've just sat, actually not even sat, just laid in a bed, even though I did get up because I couldn't stand it. I had to get up. And they did want you to walk a little bit. Like they wanted you to get out of bed a couple times a day because they didn't want you to get blood clots in your legs. So I just kind of sat there and thought, because there wasn't a whole lot on the TV either. The Olympics were on, at least. I watched so much curling. I watched so much Olympics, but mostly curling because it was middle of the night. I watched it live, and then I'd watch the replay at night. It was crazy. I knew exactly what was going to happen. Thank God for the Olympics. But I will say this. So many people checked in on me. So many people with a text message, with a Discord message, with a tweet, with a Facebook message, with a reply to a Facebook post, with a reply to an Instagram post. I read every one of those. I might not got a chance to respond to every one of them personally because there were like 900 responses to some of them. There were 700 to some. Even the likes, I went by and looked at all the likes. There were people I hadn't heard from for years. And I just wanted to get on here and say thank you from the bottom of my heart because it meant the world to me that you hearted something or that you liked something or that you said, "Hey, I'm thinking of you, praying for you. Hope you feel better soon. Hope that recovery is going well." Because that meant so much. And I'm going to make sure that I always try to respond to people that are going through situations like that because, I'm on the other side of it now. I'm hoping. Um, we're still not there yet. We're trying, but I just want to say thank you for all the thank yous that you passed on to me because they didn't go unnoticed. They were so appreciated. I just remember laying in that bed. I think it was on the Friday night after Pam left because she would leave at like 9 o'clock. Pam and Mallory. Mallory came both nights, or most nights too. And those two being there were like my two little angels. I got to spend time with. She brought a board game one night. We played Sequence. She smuggled in blizzards from Dairy Queen because I couldn't eat anything but soft foods, and ice cream was one of the soft foods. And if I could eat the cheap ice cream, she thought I could eat the blizzards. So I ate a blizzard because I couldn't eat anything except like broth and the ice cream they gave you. So, but after they left, I just remember getting on my phone and looking and seeing everybody saying, hang in there, like on the Discord and on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that. And not YouTube, but Instagram and Facebook and text messages people sent. And I'm telling you what, it lifted my spirit. So I just wanted to get on here and say thank you because it was a lot of you guys. So thank you for that. So just I wanted to put this part of the show to that. So just it meant the world. Now, let me tell you one other thing. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. Because I'm over 2 weeks from the surgery. But I keep thinking I should be like back. I can't run yet. I keep wanting to run because God, I miss running. I can't believe I'm saying that because I used to hate running so much, but I can't run yet. Excuse me. Oh my God, that hurt. Shouldn't cough. Oh man, that hurts. Coughing and sneezing are still super painful. I have like a 6-inch incision. If I still have, by the way, fun fact, I still have not seen my incision. I don't look at stuff like that because I get queasy. Pam has seen it. I make her look at it every night, but I do not look at it. I never did see my incision on my ankle either when it had stitches. Once the stitches are out, I'll look, but they're still in. And it's like, apparently there's glue on top of it. So the glue's supposed to fall off at some point. I don't look down. Like even when I take a shower, I just kind of look up. Anyway, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So here's a fun fact though. And this is where it's going to get interesting tonight. So Monday, when we recorded the show that came out today, the listener question show that you're hearing today on the feed on Friday with Pam, that was my first show back. And I was super excited to do another podcast on the other side of the surgery because I've been wanting to do one. I was like, Pam, let's do one. Let's do listener questions. She's like, okay, cool. She was just back from Florida. And so I got down here. I'm like, God, I haven't done a podcast in like 2.5 weeks, man. It's been forever. I pumped. Let's do one. So we did that show, right? And I had so much fun doing it. I hope you guys liked it. That night at about 12:30 in the morning, I woke up in the worst pain. I mean, the worst pain. I woke up, Pam next to me, and I said, Pam. I said, I'm dying. And I don't know what it was, but it happened to me last night again. So it happened on Monday night and it happened on Thursday night, which was last night. And I think what it was Monday night after doing the podcast. When you do a podcast, whether you believe it or not, you're talking from your diaphragm, like for an extended period of time, like I'm doing right now. Because you have to kind of project your voice. Because I do kind of use a podcast voice when I do this podcast. Like I really don't talk like this when I talk to Pam at Ellis Tech on Friday nights. I kind of use a stupid, like dumb mic voice in regular life. It doesn't definitely sound like this. But I try to sound a little bit more professional here on the podcast than when I'm just talking in the real world. So I am trying to project a little bit better from kind of like deeper down, which is when I engage my core. That's the one thing I can't still do right now is to engage my core. And like I never thought about this, but Pam has told me this. And this is what the doctor told Pam because I haven't talked to the doctor much, but Pam talked to the doctor a lot because the doctor came out and talked to her after the surgery. And I've talked to the doctor a little bit, but I'm going back to meet with the surgeon on Monday because we missed the appointment last week. For some reason, we thought it was on Tuesday, but it was on Monday and we totally missed it. So we're going Monday. But when they did the surgery, they had to like cut right down the middle. They cut through like all the muscle and all that stuff to get where they had to get. And so like my muscles were like cut. And so she said it's like getting a C-section for a woman. So I'm like a part of the C-section club now. So which is very funny for all the cheer moms and all that stuff. But yeah, um, it's really sore down there. Like when I laugh, or especially when I cough or sneeze, getting out of bed, like going from like laying down to sitting up is the like most painful thing ever. Like getting out of a chair is the most painful thing. Getting out of a car is the most painful thing. Still, like 2 weeks out, I'm able to walk on a treadmill. Like I can do that. That's not that rough. I'm doing that, but man, I still can't run. I still just getting out of a chair, getting in and out of a car. I'm still not there. And it's so frustrating because it's been 2 weeks, but I guess we'll get there. I still haven't driven because I have a stick shift. My Jeep's a stick shift, and getting out of a Jeep Wrangler is probably not a great idea at this point yet. But like I said, we'll get there. So thank you for all the wishes. That's where I stand right now. And I'll let you know what they say on Monday on next week's Mike in the Midwest. Now, the final part of the show, the final goodbye. Last night was Mallory's last cheer game. And yes, it was sad. It was more sad for me, I think, than for Mallory. I watched her. And I remember this. I remember this because I was a high school athlete. You know, I played 4 years of varsity sports and stuff like that. And I remember, but like at the time, I didn't care really when I remember my last game because it was a playoff game. I started the game. It was a district baseball game. We went to the playoffs. I started the game against McClure North. It was an away game. It was at McClure North. And I got taken out in the 5th inning. We were winning 4-3. They brought in Eddie Woods out of the bullpen. And I remember the Steve Kern, our manager, coming out to get me, bringing in Eddie, which I don't, it was the 5th inning, it was a 7-inning game. Nothing, I wasn't, you don't pitch the whole game typically in high school. We were winning, bring him in. Eddie gives up a couple of runs. We lose. Season's over. Your career's over. And that was it. You don't go back in. And I knew it was going to be my last game. But the thing was, I wasn't that sad at the time because I knew I was getting ready to play American Legion ball for the summer. And we played about 70 games in the summer with the same guys, almost the exact same team. I was going to play 70 more games starting like next week. And we were going to play again until like the end of July. So I wasn't even that sad. It was like, oh, we'll just play, 70 more together here shortly. But I'm sitting there with the parents, and I think like as I was looking around, like the final goodbye, like it was sad because like you saw, we're sitting with some of the other cheer parents that had seniors, and then we were sitting behind like a lot of the basketball players, parents that we don't know that well. We know the cheer parents a lot better, but you saw them as their kids, their sons were getting taken out of the game, and it was inevitable. We were down by like 12 with like 5 to go. We weren't coming back, and these kids had played their hearts out, right? Like it was the same thing for us. Like we knew that this was like Mallory's last cheer game. This was Addie's last cheer game. This was, all their last cheer games. We knew this was probably it. But I mean, and you saw it with the basketball players, right? And they're going to probably go on and play some summer leagues and go on to play in college and stuff. Mallory's not cheering in college. She's done. Her shoulder keeps coming out of the socket. She doesn't want to tumble anymore. She wants to rush a sorority at Mizzou. And I mean, I respect that. You know what? Cheer is hard. It's hard on your body. If she doesn't want to do it anymore, the worst thing you can do is force a kid to continue in a sport. I respect that. She needs to go to college and do what she wants to do and pursue her degree and have fun. That's what I want her to do. But it was sad. But here's the thing. I will say this. I looked around that gym. We're playing our rival, and we're playing our rival at their house, which is funny because we're Francis Howell, and we were playing at Francis Howell Central, which actually Francis Howell Central is closer to our house than Francis Howell. Francis Howell, where Mallory goes, is a little bit further away from us than Francis Howell Central. I don't know how Mallory didn't end up going to Francis Howell Central, but I'm glad because Francis Howell is a better school. Go Vikings. So anyway, we had to play at Francis Howell Central, and big rivals, obviously, because we're both in the same district, two high schools. And we typically stomp Francis Howell Central in every sport. We beat them in football all the time. Basketball, we usually beat them. We beat them in almost everything. However, our basketball team's pretty good, but we don't have a big man this year. We have a small team. We have a 3-point shooting team. We have a small team. Francis Howell Central's got a big team. And they have Jack Brown, who's going to play tight end for Mizzou. He's class of 27. So they can feed this guy. He's huge. And they had another kid that was just as big as him. So they had a huge size advantage. And so that because of that, they were 23-4 going into they were ranked higher than us. They were going to probably win, which they did. So we knew this was probably it. So I kind of just went in knowing this was probably it. But I sat back and I looked at and just kind of observed as kind of the last time we were going to be participants of a high school game with a little skin in the game, with my kid as a participant, as a cheerleader. And I'll tell you what, high school sports is one of the greatest things in America, if not the world. It's a blessing. And you probably have this in your backyard. I guarantee you do. I just want to challenge you. And I know the seasons are coming to an end, but in the fall, go to a high school football game. Or, when the winter starts, go to a high school basketball game at your local school. And go to a rivalry game. Even better, go to the one when your two district schools are playing against each other on a Friday night in the gym or in the high school, at the high school football game. It's awesome because the community comes out and the student sections will cheer against each other. They'll chant against each other. The insurance salesman will be there, hopefully sponsoring the student section. The teachers are all there rallying, and instead of, giving math assignments to the kids, they're out there. The kids get to see their teachers in a different way. All the parents are there supporting each other. The coaches are there. It doesn't matter. You get to see your neighbors in a different way. Everybody is, wearing the school colors, whether it's your rivals' colors or your colors, and you get to rally together and you're supporting those kids. I think it's Americana in the best way. As we were pulling out of our subdivision to go to the game last night, Pam was like, "This is the last time we get to go to a high school game as cheer parents." I was like, "Oh, it kills me." But I was like, "We're still going to go to Howell like next year for the Friday night lights. We're still going." She's like, "I know, but it'll be different." I was like, "It will be." I was like, "But there's still nothing better." She's like, "I know, but it won't be the same." I was like, "It won't be the same, but it'll still be good." So it's still pretty awesome. So I just wanted to drop that in. It was the final goodbye for Mallory's cheer, which I'm always going to embrace. We have the banquets this Monday where we celebrate their state championship. We celebrate the seniors. We celebrate the great year we had. So we'll be doing the podcast this week on Tuesday if you want to join us live, not Monday. But there's something so pure about high school sports. And if you get a chance to encourage kids to play high school sports, I would say do it. I'm a coach, though. I don't coach high school sports, but I've coached in the past, and I just think it's a good thing. Man, sports teach you so much. And as a parent, there's nothing better than sitting in the stands. You don't have to have skin in the game. It's just so good to see communities rally together, see the kids cheer their peers, just go there and cheer for your community, rally together. It's the good stuff. I think so. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show. So let me know. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. So glad to be back. And more importantly, so glad that we're all friends. And I hope you always enjoy the Be Our Guest podcast when we get to talk some Disney. Hope you always enjoy these little bonus shows too, because I sure appreciate you guys allowing us to keep the show going here, going into the 19th year. It's pretty amazing. So until we talk again, I had to do this one early today because tomorrow, Pam's birthday. We're celebrating a big birthday for Pam tomorrow. So I want to get this one done today so we could spend a little time together tomorrow, because she's been my angel for the past forever, but she's been my angel to get me through all this. I haven't driven. She's driven me everywhere. She's just done everything for me. And I'm so blessed because I couldn't have gotten through this without her. So we're going to celebrate her tomorrow for her birthday. So That's why this one's coming out on a Friday. So until we talk again, you guys have an awesome weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.